How to analyze satire in literature. Have you ever laughed at something that made you think? That's the power of satire in literature. It uses humor, irony, exaggeration, and ridicule to point out flaws in society, people, or institutions. To analyze satire effectively, let's break it down step by step. First, identify the target. What or who is the satire critiquing? Common targets include political systems, social norms, or human vices like greed or hypocrisy. Look for repeated criticisms or exaggerated portrayals of specific groups, behaviors, or beliefs. Next, recognize key techniques. Exaggeration is a big one. It involves overstating traits or actions to highlight absurdity. Incongruity is another technique, where mismatched elements create humor or irony. Reversal flips expectations, like role reversals between authority figures and subordinates. Parody mimics a style or work to mock its conventions. Irony highlights gaps between appearance and reality, such as a character oblivious to their own flaws. Malapropism misuses words to expose a character's ignorance or pretentiousness. Now let's assess tone and style. Determine if the tone is Horatian, which is lighthearted and playful, or Juvenalian, which is harsh and moralizing. Horatian satire often uses gentle humor, while Juvenalian employs sharp criticism. Analyzing the structure is also important. Satire may follow a bipartite structure. The thesis criticizes a vice or folly from multiple angles, while the antithesis briefly suggests a virtuous alternative, though this section is often less developed than the critique. Contextualizing the work is essential. Consider the historical, cultural, or political climate in which the satire was written. For example, 18th century satire often targeted Enlightenment-era hypocrisy, while modern satire might focus on technology or media. Finally, evaluate effectiveness. Ask yourself, does the humor clarify the critique? Does the exaggeration make the target's flaws more visible? Does the work provoke reflection or merely ridicule? For teaching purposes, you can use practical applications. Comparative analysis can help students contrast satirical works with straightforward critiques to see how humor alters impact. Creative exercises like assigning parodies of well-known texts can help students practice identifying and replicating satirical techniques. Debates can also be useful to discuss whether satire's indirect approach risks misinterpretation or strengthens its message. Understanding specialized terms can also aid in analysis. Allegory is a narrative where characters symbolize broader ideas, often used in satire to veil criticism. Hyperbole is intentional overstatement to emphasize a point. Black humor uses comedy to address taboo subjects, such as death or corruption, to reduce their emotional weight. By dissecting these elements, readers can uncover how satire challenges power structures, questions norms, and invites audiences to rethink societal issues.